morning, everyone. My name is Wonsu James Obina. The subject that we will learn today is called history. As you may know, many of us will think that history is a very difficult subject. Some always believe that history has a lot of dates in it, it has a lot of records of the past. Others complain that why should we always study things that are recorded in the past, very old information. So these complaints are the major reasons why students are not enthusiastic when it has to do with studying history. So I'll make certain clarifications and I'll help you develop the ability to understand what history is all about. Because it is only when you are able to understand what it is all about, that's when you begin to pick interest in it and you begin loving it. So right now, our concern will be on the topic history and historiography. Now, in history and historiography, you will observe that we'll be looking at things like the definition of history, the sources of history, and the prospects that ICT has when it has to do with history. Now, the sources of history, the prospects of history of ICT in historical studies, and the meaning of history. These are the areas that we will concern ourselves with. But before that, are you aware that history is one of the oldest subjects of man? The area of study that man has always engaged in all that you will think of. History is always the oldest part of it. So, you should learn how to appreciate. Because there is a popular saying that when one doesn't know where he's coming from, he may likely not know where he's heading to. So, for that particular reason, I'll leave you with this simple biblical allusion. You remember that when Jesus Christ was creating things, he used the word of the mouth. Are you aware of that? Now you see that until this day, men still study the things that were said by Jesus Christ, the life and times of his disciples. Up to today, we still have time to study those things. But life wasn't like that before then. So, how come we are able to develop interest in studying the Bible and we still make that mistake of saying, or arrive at that misconception of saying that history concerns itself with events that doesn't relate to us or about dead people? That is not the value of history. Moreover, historical dates are interrelated. They are intertwined. One event leads to another. They are chronologically and sequentially valid so that no one will be placed before the other one. Historical facts are things that when we have them, we are seen as archives or repository of knowledge in our societies. Moreover, it will be very difficult for you to see any profession where history is not being used. So it is for that particular reason I've been able to clarify you, to tell you how important it will be for you to study history. The doctor in the hospital needs a historical record of the patient in order to carry out any analysis or to prescribe drugs. Same with the engineer going to any site. If you call a weather worker, he needs to get to a site. When he arrives at that site, he wants to know the historical background of the place. If he fails to do that, he will encounter communal conflicts that will chase him out of the contract which he was deserving the one. So, one of our teachers, when you are going to any environment, you have to find out if the people are able to communicate and understand the medium of communication you are using. In most villages today, once you get there, they need to tell you that you need to learn the language because the people are taught here based on their language. So if you are coming to a place and you have no knowledge of these facts that concerns the people, there will be a difficulty you will encounter when it has to do with communicating, impacting, or deliberately and generally fulfilling that purpose for which you have set out to carry the task. It's on that note that I will proceed for the class for today. Now I told you that one of our major subsidiary aims should be to explain the meaning of history. I'll just refer you to Historiography, one of the old historians, the founder of history himself. He was the person that started the study of history. And he said something. The history as a word is gotten from the Greek word called historia. Now, historia simply means an inquiry, a research, an investigation, an examination. But this examination, research, and all the rest, when you add the ROY to each, it becomes a study. The same way you have in other fields where you have sociology, you have the GY to it, psychology, you have the GY to it, which means the study. So it's an inquiry to study deliberately events of the past. But let me give you a general definition first, before I build your mind for you to arrange out your own definitions the way you deem it fit. Now, there is a general definition like history is the study of the past, and every person takes it like that. But I always invite and expect students to put that mindset down and add one important thing, that history studies important past events. You don't just study anything. You don't just study anything in the name of studying history. You study events of the past. Whatever you're doing that you're studying events of the past, you should know that you don't study about plants just in the open space. You don't just study about cars, you study about the first car, the first man. You study about important past events. And most times students will ask, how do we classify things that are important? Are we saying that what one man decides to research and attach a lot of importance to it is no longer important generally? If we carve out a standard for which we define or we explain what is important, then it means that people may not be able to study freely what they are expected to do. That is not our aim. Our aim is not to mention that certain things are important and deprive people the right to study the other things the way they so desire. So, it is on that note that I'll remind you that when we talk about history being the study of important past events, we're actually talking about what historically we can put under these four areas I'll mention. One is the one that has to do with the economy of the people. Two is the political activities of the people. Their political antecedents, issues of the past, their political foundations. The next one will be their social leanings. Their social leanings is also a platform on which you can study them. And the last one will have to do with their diplomatic relationships. These four areas are very important in the study of history. So they are the reasons why we outlined the importance of history, because we want to emphasize on them. Now, whatever you study as a person will either fall under those four categories I have just mentioned. If you study anything that is not within this category, if you study about space science and technology, you're automatically talking about the things that revolve society. So you're talking about the social aspects of society. Because science and technology, we mostly use them in our social gatherings. That's very science and technology. You talk about education, you talk about health, you talk about every other thing that stabilizes society apart from the economical, political, and diplomatic relationships. All other things can be easily categorized from religion, health, and other things can be easily classified under what we call the social relationships. In most cases, they say socio-economic, fine. But I've told you that whatever you bring, you will need to put it under any of these categories I have mentioned. Either it's in the political sphere, it's in the economical sphere, or it is in the diplomatic, or what's the other one I mentioned? So that is all. So when we study diplomatic relationships, because most students normally misinterpret diplomatic relationships to political, the assumption is that they are related. When we talk about diplomatic relationships, what makes them different from political is that political may be internally classified. When we talk about diplomatic, we are talking about things that are done internationally and not in the local sense of it. I hope you understand just fine. If you have any questions, you keep documenting them when we proceed with the first part, which is the meaning of history. Then you will have that opportunity to ask your questions so that we can proceed to the next part of the class. So for now, you have learned that history is the study of important past events, not just past events. And that the word history is gotten from the word historia, which means inquiry. It's a Greek word, historia, which means an inquiry. And when you add the re to it, the ROI, it means a study, an inquiry that is done systematically to investigate, to examine, and evaluate issues or activities of past leaders, past happenings, past occurrences, all our encounters of the past is through history that we examine them. So you see how important history is. The doctors use it, the lawyers use it, and every other organization you will think of, they do use history. I have mentioned to you the areas in history And there are certain things that are also important in history: the environment, time, and man. Man is the reason we study history. Without man, there will be no history. So whatever thing you want to study, be it animal or whatever, it takes man to study it. And that's the relationship or the impact which it has on man is what will make such a study to be interesting. When you talk about the environment, of course man doesn't live in an island. He lives in an environment with other men. So it is on that note too that you will see that it is very necessary that you study history and the environment of that. But these activities of man in his environment happened in a particular time. So we study using time to differentiate one activity from another. To differentiate one man from another man, we need to check the times that these events occurred. So it is on that note that we'll move to the next subsidiary aim, which is the prospects of ICT, information communication technology, on the study of history. So you may ask your questions now so that we can proceed.